Hello, we have another Saturday food support group. And this is a little bit of an interesting time to be having a support group for food because it's just after Thanksgiving. And so I'm sure that this would be a meeting that most people would want to duck out on and not really talk about what happened this week. But I think it's really important to continue to have the structure in place to have these conversations, even though they might be a little bit uncomfortable, because it's better than not having the conversation at all, and then going on a binger for 30 days or 3 months. I had one person share with me their story, and they literally had one piece of cake and it turned into a 6-month binger of all the things. And for people who don't experience this, it may seem like, we're being dramatic. We're being excessive. Like I've, had other people like, come on, loosen up, Emily, like just a bite. But I really can't risk that. And you don't know me. I know me. I'm the one living in this meat suit. I'm the one who knows the thoughts that I have, that one piece of cake and what it can do to throw me completely off. And so, one of the things that I love that I get to talk about in Inner Clarity System, in the 8-week system, is setting those boundaries. And it's not that we can't play, it's just that we need to set those boundaries. Like the example that I use is bumpers on the bowling lane. I think that none of us really want to be in the gutter. We want to play the game, but we don't want to live in the gutter with our eating, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. We know that that's not a place that we want to experience. That's not a place that we want to be. So whenever we can put those bumpers, like they do with little kids, they put the bumpers on the bowling lanes, then we can still play and not have to fear the gutter and what can happen. And then once you get in the gutter, it's very rare that your ball is that powerful to pop back out. You go the whole lane down in the gutter. So it's not something that you even want to play with. It's not even something that you want to dip into the gutter and then back out onto the lane. You want to avoid the gutter. And so what I found is something that I call safety net foods. And so whenever I meet with a client and we decide, okay, this is what, they know are foods that they feel best eating, I say, okay, what are some safety net foods? And those safety net foods are usually keto or something that they know they don't feel best on, but it's not going to wreck them like a piece of cake or whatever your kryptonite is. I think everybody has a different kryptonite. I remember one time I had cottage cheese and lost my mind for 45 minutes. Like I just ate all the things just from one bite of cottage cheese. And so for me, I know cottage cheese is my kryptonite. It's a problem for me. It's not a safety net food. And then I have found other foods that are safety net foods that I can have that food and stop. But there's other foods that open up a completely different door in my brain and I just go nuts. So if you guys don't mind, I would love to hear some of your safety net foods, because I really believe that number one, we have to decide our own experience. But also we learn from each other. So, somebody might come on here and have a suggestion of a safety net food that I never thought about that I can try and I don't end up in the gutter. But you're always listening at your own risk. And it's always important for you to know yourself And I know that if somebody said I had, 4 Oreos and I was fine, I would be like, that's cute. I can't do that. I can't play that game. I need my boundaries. India says, I love that. I can share, Emily. I have an update and I should not keep in. Also, my safety net foods are keto as well. Okay, awesome. India, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. It's so awesome to see everyone. So I definitely have safety net foods. But one thing that happened yesterday was, so it's my birthday on Tuesday. So we celebrated yesterday and we went to Fago de Chio. And I don't even know if that's how you pronounce it, but
That's where they bring the meat to the table and cut it off.
yes, yes. And it's Brazilian steakhouse. And one of the things they bring like 3 little sets of food. And me and my husband usually just say, like, you don't need to bring the potatoes, the cheesy bread, and the blah, blah, blah. What? Oh, it's yuca fries and something else. Anyway, it's carb food that we typically don't indulge in. But I totally ate cheesy bread and I don't feel bad about it. And I just now know that I have to be careful because, like Emily always says, it can wake up my monster. But those cheesy breads are very unique. And I know that I cannot like have them. Like, it's not like I can go to the grocery store and buy those. I'm saying that because I feel that's a part of that. But my safety food, it's just funny that you say safety foods, because some of my safety foods are, if for some reason I'm craving sugar, I know that people always say, eat fat, eat fat. So that can help. But in the past, I would always just create that. And then that stopped working for me. So what I mean by that, I should explain more. So let's say I was craving a brownie or whatever. I would just create a keto version of that thing. But I found myself still eating like a lot of that.
Like the whole pan.
Yes. So, and it allowed me to stay on track. So it helped me when, like, in those places in the past, it helped me. And another thing is, like, me and my husband, we love pizza. We created a keto pizza. So every so often when we're craving pizza, I create mini pizzas with keto cauliflower thins and lots of meat and just a tiny bit of cheese melded on top. Those satisfy that. So that's another one of that's probably the biggest safety food, because I remember in the past, pizza definitely brought, like the cake with the story you had, Emily, it would bring us down a path that was just destructive for us, and it could and did last for months. And I'm doing things differently now, not the same as the past. So just wanted to give that update. And the biggest thing is there's not as much shame as there was in the past for me, which is a huge thing for me. Huge. Because yeah, I would be one of those people, Emily, that was hiding under a rock, not wanting to come to this meeting because it was directly after the holiday. And I'm going to be spending the holiday in New York, and I have a safety plan for that I shared a couple of weeks ago from looking up restaurants on localfats.com. And if you don't know about that resource, it's great. It's a resource of restaurants that use healthy fats and no seed oils. And I feel like there was one other thing that I was going to say, but.
Did you have any other safety net foods that you use?
I feel like those are it.
Awesome. Well,
I guess my keto cheesecake birthday / cake.
Yeah, how'd that go?
So pumpkin cheesecake. Unfortunately, my husband lost the old recipe he used to use, but we made a pumpkin cheesecake this time, and it was awesome. And I ate one piece, and it's still in the fridge, and it's there for me if I need it. Um, but that's not something that it's very rich. So I guess that would be a good tip. Something that's
Mm,
really rich where you only can have a tiny bit, like because it's just so rich. And that's one of those types of things. Um, but yeah. So
awesome.
I hope I didn't
Awesome.
trigger anybody listing off things, but anyway.
No, and I think it's important to talk about those things in a safe place, where we can process it. And Larry puts in the chat pork rinds with butter to stop late evening cravings. Don't need much to end the cravings. That's a good one. Monica, go ahead.
Two of my safety nets, I was never particularly a sweets person, but as I went through menopause, I craved chocolate a lot, believing it was attached to a lack of magnesium. And so I have found at this stage of my healing that if I crave something salty, it's always butter. And I like it from the fridge or the freezer where it's hard in little pieces where I can slowly savor it and give my brain time to know that the craving is being met.
Mm.
And now that, I fell into Graham made me do it. I made what I call carnivore cookies, which is just because they're cookie shaped because of the pan I use. But I've done the ground beef with butter, and I've done ground bison with butter, and I season the meat really well. And so I get the salty when I'm craving the salty, and even out of the freezer, the meat still has the crunchy bits. And it's so satisfying to just break off a piece and eat on it when I want something salty is wonderful. When I want something sweet, actually cheese does it for me. And it has to be like a double cream, triple cream, a double Gloucester cheddar, like a fancy wedge of cheese that I will keep just for those moments, because just like Larry said, it's very decadent. So it does not take much to get on my palate and go, wow, and craving gone.
That's
so those
awesome.
are my two safety for salty and sweet. And the salted butter does have a sweet taste to me, so I can do plain butter also when I want sweet. If I want a little more flavor, I might do a piece of the cheese. But those that can't have dairy, the butter works. And then for the salty, I'm loving having the carnivore cookies, well seasoned, the crispy bits. It's just such a treat. And so I've really been enjoying those.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I think it's really important to navigate this on your own, to find out, because there's no way that I could sit here and go, okay, here's the Monica plan. It was really important for you to be able to navigate that yourself and to come up with what works for you. Because nobody else is in your body but you. And I'm really glad that you know now what works for you and what doesn't work for you. Thank you for sharing. Amy, go ahead.
A couple of the things I use, unfortunately, require some quite a bit of prep on the front end. So it makes them maybe not so ideal, but whenever you make it, it does last for a while. Like the thin sliced strip steak or ribeye and the dehydrator, make your own carnivore crisps. So I will kind of go through, because I do it so few and far in between. I maybe kind of overdo it in the beginning, but I get so tired. I actually get tired of chewing on it. And so it's a while before I really want it again, but then it's kind of like, it's a while before I get to Costco and get it. And so then I'm ready to really have it again. So I'm kind of in a weird cycle with my dehydrated beef, but also the brown butter discs. I haven't made those for a while, and sometimes if that's one of those things you got to get just right. Like the last time I made it, I overdid it and got them a little burnt, and then like you throw them out or waste them. But so those aren't ideal. So I'm wanting to hear what everybody else has to say. I've been kind of off and running with a lot of traveling we've been doing since the summer, and have not been doing what I need to do. So,
but you're here today,
yep,
Amy.
I am.
And that
I don't
makes
know
me
when I've been
so
here last.
happy.
Yes, yes.
I was so glad when I saw your face. I was just like, yay. I was so glad. And Andia, I'm not sharing her business. Andia will tell you. There were times where she just like skipped out, and it was important for her to just get back to the meeting. And I think that is why I keep having this meeting, because it's always here. It's always here for you guys whenever you need it to come back.
Yep. Thanks.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. And Andia says in the chat, safety foods now for me come in the form of some kind of bread-like food. My husband makes these flat biscuits that are a great bun substitute. Do you know what they're made of, Andia?
He just walked by and I asked him, I'm like, what are those biscuits? An old friend gave them to us. He said he thinks they're called 1-carb biscuits. And I didn't ask him what the ingredients are, but I know for sure they're eggy.
Got it.
Because they're really low carb. I don't know if it's almond flour that's in it, or I can't remember. Because I actually never make those. He always does.
Yeah.
When he walks back by, I'll ask him if he remembers any of the ingredients, and I'll put them in the chat.
Yeah, and Amy put in the chat, that's what I was thinking it might be, is the chaffle with the egg yolks and the melted butter with the baking powder. Yeah, that makes it, I mean, you can literally just pour it on a little circle on the pan, on the skillet, and make your own little biscuits. And it's amazing. I've used those for my son for burgers, like the buns on the burgers, and it works really good. I even did cinnamon toast for my son, where I would have, because I did it in the waffle maker, and so it literally looks like a waffle, and then I just put melted butter on it and xylitol and cinnamon, and then I mushed it all together, the melted butter with the xylitol and the cinnamon, and he loved it. And for a 14-year-old to love something is a big deal whenever it's literally so healthy. Like there's really nothing that I would omit the xylitol if it was me, but for him it was a great substitute. So Tom, go ahead.
I was just texting in the chat. Thanks to Larry for reminding me I needed to pick up some pork rinds for this evening. So
Nice.
appreciate that, Larry. As you know, I had talking about the feeling guilty about cheating on carnivore. So I've been doing it for 9 months now. So I don't feel like when if I go out once in a while and I have something that I don't normally have that has some carbs in it, I'm not feeling guilty about it. So you saw the pictures I posted for the Thanksgiving dinner we had at Chart House, which is a beautiful restaurant in Annapolis on the waters. So I had a nice steak, but it had mashed potatoes with it and green beans, which used to be my favorite vegetable before I started carnivore. So I went ahead and I had some green beans. I had a couple of bites of the mashed potatoes, and I also had a mimosa, which probably has a lot of carbs in it. And I really didn't care because I knew that I was going to get right back on it, and that mentality helped me not fall into the trap, like you said. My trap, my kryptonite is bread. And so the fact that I have not craved bread is huge for me, and to have muffin, the bread that they serve at these restaurants, you're like, it used to be your favorite thing. You'd eat like 2 servings of it. They keep bringing the bread, and I don't even look at it or touch it. And that's, again, huge for me. So um, I even took a bite of a pumpkin pie. And so then I let my wife had my pumpkin pie. So, and then later that evening, she went down to get it, and her son ate it. So she was so pissed. But it's just funny. All these things are just coming to thinking about Thanksgiving. But I actually lost 2 pounds
Wow.
Thanksgiving. I had I think I had 2 mimosas, believe it or not. She drove home, so it was like, I'm having a second mimosa. And so it's awesome. I feel good. I don't feel guilty. So that's big. And a lot of people, this thing about cheating on carnivore, that's crap. So I just, want everybody to know, if you can not fall into the gutter, like you said, don't be afraid to, have some things. I know you sampled some salad the other day, and and you're still here. You look great.
Thank
And
you. But
finally, I just wanted to say, I don't know if you know this or not, but every time your Saturday food group comes up, it's always like there's no clouds. It's always blue and sunny sky behind me. I don't know if you noticed that or not. And that's for you, Emily. I don't know. Maybe it's Larry. So
yep, we bring the sunshine. I love it.
that's all I wanted to say. And I'm going to go into Safeway here. I'll take the video off and listen in, but I'm going to go get my pork rinds. Thanks, Larry.
Awesome. Yeah, I did my own experiment, and it wasn't planned. And looking back, it was reckless, to be honest. I was in the restaurant with the family. We were at a steakhouse for Thanksgiving. And so I had everything that I needed. I had, a beautiful ribeye, no temptation for the bread that was on the table. And something came over me. It was nostalgia. The restaurant was Outback, and I worked there. I was a waitress there 20 years ago, and something came over me, and I remember loving the blue cheese dressing on the salads. And I was just like, you know what? I'm going to have a salad with blue cheese dressing. I didn't even want the salad. I wanted the blue cheese dressing. And I made a quick spur of the moment decision. And you should have seen the look on my family's face when the server came by, and I'm like, and I'll have a salad with blue cheese dressing. And they were all just like, what? What is happening?
That's what I said when I saw the video, but
yeah, you should have seen my family. They were just like, oh my gosh, like, what is going on? What is this reality? Like, they even were happy that we chose a restaurant that I could eat at, and I was just like, you know what? I'm going to try it. And I really don't think the lettuce was the problem. I don't think the cheese was the problem. I don't think the tomatoes or the cucumbers were the problem. I think the seed oils in the blue cheese dressing was the problem. But I wouldn't have ate the salad without the blue cheese dressing. Like that was what I was gunning for. I was gunning for that blue cheese dressing. And looking back, because quickly I had a headache, I had, nausea. Later I had indigestion, which I think that the digestive problems was from the lettuce. And just my body's not used to it. It's been almost 4 years now since I've had a salad. So my body's just like, what are you doing? But if I were to do that again, and I would sit there and go, you know what? I really want some blue cheese dressing. I would have sat in that moment and went, oh, this is nostalgia. This is nostalgia. I used to work here. I'm feeling this restaurant. I'm feeling the experience of this restaurant, the look of the tables, the look of the booths, remembering what that experience was like for me. This is going to pass. Instead of being so impulsive in that moment and just doing that. I paid for it for 3 days. I did not feel superhuman. And I think that normal people probably wouldn't really have affected them. But I operate on this like supernatural level where I just feel so good all the time. And so for me to feel human is not fun. It is not an experience that I like participating in. I like to feel really, really, really clear mentally, emotionally, physically. I don't like pain. And so I didn't enjoy that pain that came along with that. So in the future, if I do get that moment, I'm going to recognize that it's a nostalgia moment. And then I'm going to go, okay, how can I, if what I'm gunning for is the blue cheese dressing, is this the best blue cheese dressing I can get? No. You think Outback has the best blue cheese dressing I can get? No, they are trying to cut costs. They are trying to save money. It is chock full of seed oil and probably not even real authentic blue cheese. I could go and make my own blue cheese dressing. I can go and create this beautiful moment and minus the headache, minus the seed oils. If that's what my body was really, really wanting, it could have waited a week. It could have waited until I was able to, like Amy said, do the things that take a little bit more prep, a little bit more time. So I handed my camera to my son. I was like, here, videotape this. And it got quite a lot of discussion. People that were just like, what are you doing? And then unfortunately, I had to be transparent with the results, that I had to go to the activated charcoal to kind of like absolve me of my sins, because I suffered. I really did. And I can guarantee you, I will not make that experiment again. And I'm grateful for the moment. Like, I'm really grateful for the ability to stop and go, okay, how did this happen? What happened in this moment? And really recognizing that it was nostalgia and that I could have had a different choice, and still been in the lane. But I really wasn't in my lane going into seed oils after 4 years. So I did want to go back to Andia popped up. Where did that go? The ingredients for, there it is. The muffin, the 1-carb muffins, it is almond flour, salt, baking powder, egg whites, cold butter, and then sweetener. So thank you so much for that. So lowcarblove.com, you can find the 1 gram carb fluffy biscuits. And then I'm reading this stuff in the chat. Is there anything, go ahead, India. Is there anything that I missed in the chat?
Well, I added the localfats.com in the chat. Amy asked for the exact website. And then whatever was mentioned about the other recipe, that sounded actually probably better and healthier than the 1 carb. And I don't know if my husband modifies that at all, but anyway, that's not what I was going to say. Amy, I put my blue cheese dressing recipe. Honestly, I never measure anything. I just bring it to the consistency. My parents used to own an Italian restaurant, and my mom made all the dressings by hand without seed oils. And so that was her blue cheese dressing. Basically, it's literally just blue cheese. And she used, well, actually, I can't speak to what my mom used, but this is my creation of my mom's, which tastes very much the same. And the vinegar gives it the little kick, and it makes it a nice consistency. So you just really add the vinegar as you want it runny. Like if you like runnier dressing, then you would put more vinegar. But it's so good. And yeah, we don't need to buy, like me and my husband, we don't need to buy dressings in bottles anymore. Because yeah, they're all, unless you get the Primal Kitchen brand. And honestly, I don't know about those dressings. I just don't like some of them. So we don't buy them anymore. Plus they're pretty spendy. So we've created this one and it's worked. But anyway, speaking to the nostalgia. piece. So actually last night, my husband was like, the next time we want to go out to a restaurant, like think about it. So it was my birthday, like that's the celebration. What do we typically do? We go out to a restaurant. I have been working on changing my relationship to going out to eat because it's really an entertainment thing. So first we got there and we were seated right. Okay. So we're both, me and my husband were in recovery. We don't drink. We're seated right in front of the stairs that go up to the bar. So, and I even asked the wait staff, I'm like, do we have to sit right here? They're like, oh, it'll just be wait staff going up the stairs. And I was just like, okay, whatever. It is what it is. We're sitting here. So drinks constantly, which doesn't bother us, but I'm just saying that wasn't the ideal table. So that happened. And then just like little things. And we didn't have to go do that. Like we have beautiful meat at home. We don't need to go out. And you're right. They are trying to save money and using the cheapest things possible. I think for me, it's just that like detaching from that being like this entertainment thing. Cause that's what the problem is. I feel like for me anyway, is I always feel like food has to be involved in activity and it doesn't. So changing my mindset. And it was my idea to go out for my birthday to a restaurant and have that experience. But I didn't need that experience. I didn't need to wake up this morning a little bit constipated. And I know it's from the bread, the little cheesy bread things. I know that's what it's from, because in the past that always, for my body, that is what happens. And it's fine. It's not like I'm in pain. It'll be gone. Tomorrow I'll be normal again. But I just think so mental, detaching from that idea. And I was so happy my husband said that. He's like, let's remind ourselves of this experience the next time our monsters are talking about going out to eat. Like we don't have to go out to eat. And we have to ask ourselves, are we bored right now? Why are we wanting to go out to eat? Like, so there's always going to be like a reason that we're wanting to go, right? So just exploring that and having a more of a conversation of what are the alternatives. So I just wanted to say that. And yeah, thank you so much for sharing your story. That helped me remember that part I didn't add. It was related.
Yeah, no problem. And I think it's a challenge because we got to get creative. It's really lazy for us to go, oh, we're going to celebrate so-and-so's birthday. What restaurant are we going to go to? Like, wouldn't it be really incredible to be like, you know what? It's your birthday. We're going to do something amazing. You really love hiking. So as a family, we're all going to go hiking. Or you really love hot air balloons. And I found that they're having this, event where they have hot air balloons. And we go to that. Or, it really, you have to up the bar whenever you're not doing the status quo. And so I really think that being a little bit more creative, it flexes those muscles, that you stretches those muscles that you have to use that you don't normally use, because it's so much easier to just check the box and go, yeah, we celebrated your birthday. It's done. We did it. I think that it's important to keep upping the bar. Go ahead, Monica.
I just wanted to say that I really appreciate hearing your take on it, because I did see it online, and using the word nostalgia, because this was a completely different Thanksgiving for us. After last week's meeting, my daughter tested positive for COVID. And so we were here and we weren't on our trip. And Thanksgiving is my most favorite meal of the year. And as long as the Lord blesses me with my mama, I'm eating that Thanksgiving dinner. I don't care how sick it's going to make me. I don't care what's going to happen. There is just truly blessing in that meal for me. And of course, this year we didn't have it, but I still have my mama. And so we had to go to plan B. And I think you saw my plan B. We had filet mignon and crab legs at home that were in the freezer and butter. And my daughter and I sat and we ate it, and we were grateful and we were thankful. And afterwards, I thought, okay, maybe we started a new tradition for when we don't have grandma's meal. Life will be okay without having that meal. And we made a new memory. And my daughter saying, I can't believe that I'm going to say to my friends that I had crab legs and filet mignon. And this was her first time having filet mignon. It was my favorite cut of steak. And this was her first time having it. And I told her, I said, can you believe, because you got COVID, you didn't get to have a turkey dinner, but you had filet mignon and crab legs. That's what you can be telling your friends. And so it was just an amazing night. And we created our new nostalgia to be able to tell that story from years to come. That, I had friends calling me saying, where's mine? Is it shipped overnight? I had no idea that and it was just a great little 24-hour period to just shine in that. But you hit it on the head, the nostalgia of something. During the course of Thanksgiving week, I had planned to relax a little bit. I had been very strict because I had gotten way off track. And I said, Thanksgiving, I will allow some things back. And I can tell you every single thing, and I'm not going to go into what it was, but it wasn't like off plan, just things that, kind of sent me on a slippery slope. Every single one tasted like disappointment. Every single thing tasted like disappointment. And there is no reason for me to ever have it again. I was just like, this was enjoyment when was this? And it was only, like 6 weeks ago, but every single thing that I hadn't been eating that I reintroduced tasted like disappointment. But that steak and that crab legs with my daughter, there's no words for how phenomenal that was, and that will be part of my nostalgia going forward. And so I love that word, and I love that that's, knowing the backstory behind the story, because again, mind shift.
Absolutely. And I got to tell you, that salad at Outback with the blue cheese dressing tasted like disappointment. It was absolute. I tasted the chemicals in it. It wasn't enjoyable. It wasn't fun. It was just like, and it was immediate regret, I would say within 30 minutes of leaving the restaurant, it was just like, oh, that's why. Yeah. I forgot. I don't poison myself, So yeah, thank you so much. That's exactly what it is. It's just disappointment. I love that. All right. So anybody else have anything to add for safety net foods that you use? One thing that I did have that I was thinking whenever Amy was talking, and then also when Andia was talking, was I think it's really important to have safety net foods that are convenient. Yes, you can have safety net foods that you have to go through some prep or some steps for. That's fine. But you got to have some of those safety net foods that are easy. That's what's so easy about pizza, is you literally call them and they deliver it to your doorstep, and it's over. And for me, that would wreck me. I would be paying for it forever to be eating, Domino's or Pizza Hut or whatever. But there needs to be some things that you have that are convenient, or more convenient, on hand to be able to, hit that spot and meet that need. Bacon. Andia says, I always have that with me. In fact, we had that in the car yesterday to curb hunger until we ate. That's great. That's great. I love it. Yeah, bacon's a great go-to. I think that, there's a lot of things to consider going into Thanksgiving, but it almost feels like a trial run, because now we're getting into the big games, y'all. We're going into the week before Thanksgiving, or the week before Christmas. And we went through our trial run with Thanksgiving. So now it's fresh in our memory that, we don't want to operate in tasting disappointment. We don't want to operate in, that nostalgia. We want to see things for what they are. And we want to push the envelope of being creative, of finding other ways to celebrate the people in our lives, celebrate the love, and to really multiply that love, instead of just checking a box and going, okay, we ate, we came, we ate, we left, really, that's what it's about. And so going into Christmas, I think it's important for us to have community, for us to be able to talk about these things, and for us to have a plan, because right after Christmas, it doesn't stop. You got the whole week in between Christmas and New Year's that is just like the dead zone. It's just like nothing happens. Like, it's this non-week that is just almost like kind of like a purgatory. And that's where a lot of the continuation of excessive eating of the sugar and the processed foods, and the illness continues. And then you got New Year's, and then it's just like da 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 da. So I am so grateful for every one of you that is here, every one of you that is listening to the replay. And I want you to know that you have a place here, and your voice will be heard. If you have anything to say, either in the chat or in the meeting, I want to be on this journey with you. I want to walk through this with you. You're not alone. You're absolutely not alone. When we create routine, Andia says, we can incorporate these things. I always have something thawing for dinner, for example. Yes, that's awesome. I love to have a plan like that. And then Kevin says the Norwegian term for that time between Christmas and New Year's is called romjul. So romjul.
It's pronounced romjul.
Romjul.
Romjul. But it's that whole like not a week kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just like it's like a non-week. Like, it's just so interesting.
Kevin split that in Norwegian for us.
Yeah, and Andia says, I did not know that, and I'm half Norwegian. I will be in New York for Romjul. Romjul. I love it. Thanks, Kevin. So any safety net foods or anything that you use, Kevin?
I front load with that. I go and I stuff myself to the gills with raw beef fat, and then there's just nothing really that's appetizing because I'm so sated. So that's like my hack. I mean, it seems like not that fancy, like the having the the 1 gram bread, like all of that sounds really nice, but just going and loading up on the fat beforehand is really what keeps me centered.
Awesome. And yeah, I think I also didn't really realize the risk that I was taking by going off plan, because you and I, Kevin, we have MS, and all it takes is one flare for us to go down a very scary path. And so I'm grateful that this experiment didn't end up in a flare, but I didn't have that safety. I didn't know. It was
You're
literally
not
playing.
promised that.
Yeah, I was literally playing Russian roulette there in the middle of the outback. And who knows if I would have come back.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we both have MS and we both, have been diagnosed with bipolar. So, I mean, it's like a double doozy, like, yeah.
Yeah. And I did see my mood dip a little bit for a couple of days. But it didn't go like into the pit of mental illness hell. So I'm
Good.
very grateful for that. And it was just, probably a tablespoon of seed oil, dressing. But why mess with it? Why have just a little bit of poison? Whenever I know that it's a miracle that I'm walking and talking and mentally clear.
And doing your whatever crazy sport you're doing now.
CrossFit.
CrossFit. Oh man, nice. I'm not quite to that level yet, but as far as what you were referring to of why am I doing this and just looking at it, knowing that it's bad. So with hypnotherapy, I learned that, the subconscious is, if the conscious and the subconscious get into a fight, the subconscious always wins. Your conscious mind can kind of win for a while, but that takes so much energy and struggle to keep that going that you fatigue out really quick, and that's where you end up just sliding down and sliding back. But we have, the subconscious recognizes two things: the knowns and the unknowns. Things that we know and are familiar with are comforting and comfortable and safe. Things that are unknown to the subconscious are new, dangerous, scary, and we flee that because we say that we will seek pain or seek pleasure and avoid pain, but really we'll do the opposite. It's if we are not in a state of pain, we can, our subconscious will experience that as pleasure. And so but we end up focused on the habit of where we have been, because if we've been going and doing this thing and trying and trying and trying and failing and failing and failing, the failing cycle is familiar, and we know that we know where we're at. It's safe because we know where we are, right?
Because it's
And
known.
yeah, and so it's going and overcoming that cycle of the self-sabotage, because we've always done self-sabotage. We know how to do that so very well. And this is my safe space. Yeah, it's gonna hurt, and my conscious mind isn't gonna like it, but my subconscious knows exactly what to do now. And then we just keep going and redoing that. And so having that knowledge of that abusive relationship that we have with our past patterns, where it's maybe it loves me, maybe it'll love me this time, it'll be different. Oh, I remember so much how much I loved the pizza, how much I loved these patterns, and then just go and like dip your toe into that pool, and then it's like the old Greek mermaids go and drag you down to the depths, and it's done. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's kind of like a hidden hamster wheel. Like, it's like you said, it's at the subconscious level. Like we're not even consciously choosing that. But we're continuing that comfort level of that pain and that sabotage. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kevin.
yeah.
Tom, go ahead.
So I just wanted to share. I just got home. I don't know if you see me rustling around, but my neighbor, my oblivious neighbor, just so you know, because she asked me, goes, "Oh my God, look, how much weight did you lose?" I said 75 pounds since February. She goes, "Oh my God, what did you do? What's your secret?" I was like, "Carnivore." And I was like, "Oh yeah, you told me that before." I'm like, she doesn't even know that I had a quadruple bypass. It's like she's my next door neighbor. It's like Okay. Anyways, so it's funny. I got to share the carnivore thing again for today. So twice today, actually. Once when I went to the shoe store and I was talking to the guy about it. So I can't help it. You can't help yourself, but just kind of like talk about how good this is making us feel. So sorry, just wanted to share that because I just ran into her on the way into the house. So
Absolutely. And
for Christmas, I want to give you hold on a second. No, let's do that later. Sorry.
okay. Oh, you guys decorated already?
Well, we partially decorated because we're going to Nashville, Opryland for Christmas. So
Awesome.
that's going to be another challenge, but I've already got, planned out for how I'm going to eat
You got a plan?
outside the house. So we'll see how that goes.
Good. Awesome. Keep us updated. And I'm just so grateful that you're alive, Tom. I'm so grateful that you're thriving. And that even with that quadruple bypass, you are just winning, absolutely winning, and still losing weight. Like, that's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for today. I'm so thankful for you guys. And I want to challenge you that even if you come in and you don't want to put your camera on, you don't want to talk, just come and be here. Or watch the replay. Just stay connected, stay tethered to other people who are on this journey, because you're not alone and you are not broken. You are brilliant. Have a good day.